Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Immigration Talks. We're going to jump into heavy duty topics to really explain immigration topics, educational ways that we've been doing. Definitely check out the JQK Law from YouTube channel, the TikTok channel, the Facebook channel, all this kind of stuff to get up-to-date information about what's going on. Today, we're focusing on H-1B and how this affects student visa holders. So if you're on an F-1 student visa in the United States, you have thoughts about wanting to work in the United States, maybe eventually even getting a green card. What are you supposed to do? What is OPT? What is STEM OPT? What is CAP-GAP? How does degree equivalency work? All this kind of stuff we're going to focus on today, as it's February 2022. We're recording this. The H-1B season is upon us, and we're filing this happening. So we want to get the most up-to-date information. Stay tuned to the channel and like and subscribe and ring that bell to get updates, because we're going to do a lot more material on this so that you could be familiar with what's going on. And this is going to apply really for years in the future, not only in 2022. Anya, thank you so much. My wonderful associate attorney at the JK Law Firm, Anna Sergeeva. Thank you for coming on the show again.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for having me here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, It's a little shaky. I exercised a little too much yesterday, and so my body's feeling it. So I'm trying to keep it under control. But we're doing a topic that's really important today because we have so many student visa holders who are, studying here. They want to get real work experience. So let's start with that. What is F-1 student work experience? And we'll connect that with how it helps out with H-1B.
Right. So if a student here in the United States under an student visa, which is F-1, right, they can potentially qualify for work authorization, right? And this can be accomplished through like OPT, which is what is called professional training, right?
Optional practical training.
Optional training. So they can be pre-completion OPT or post-completion OPT. Okay. And obviously pre-completion is something that can be done before you start your studies, and post-completion, once you're done with your studies, you can work after you're done with your degree. Mm-hmm. And what's important here is generally OPT valid for 12 months. Okay, you have to specifically apply for that. It's not automatically happens. And for those whose degrees are in the fields of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, those students potentially then they can qualify for additional 24 months extension of their OPT. And just we spoke with John recently about that just a couple of weeks ago. White House and the Department of Homeland Security announced that they're extending the additional, I think it was 22 additional disciplines to the list of STEM fields. So a lot more people will qualify for this 24 months extension. Again, those whose majors are in the STEM fields. Yeah. And again, this OPT, you can do that only in the major that you did your degree in. So it has to be like your work experience that directly related to your degree.
Yeah, and a quick note is, if you are going to get the STEM OPT, it's really important that the employer that's going to hire you participate in the E-Verify program. If not E-Verified, you can't get the STEM extension. But the reason why we're bringing up OPT in this context is because H-1B filing typically for most of you are going to be cap-based H-1B. So H-1B, there's non-cap, which means any time of the year the employer could file for you, many times educational institutions, research institutions. But a lot of people who are doing it just based on a degree and working in the private sector have one time in the year in March they can file for it, and that's annually, just happens then. So because there's only one opportunity, and if you're in the United States studying, one is you have to have status of some sort to be able to do change of status to H-1B. If you're in the US, if you're outside, that's something different. Also, if you get the STEM extensions, if you're not chosen in the H-1B lottery, and we're not going to go too much into that now, it's just there's 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 people who apply right now get the H-1B or chosen the H-1B lottery. If you're not chosen in a lottery this year, by getting the extra time with STEM, you have a second and third shot at the apple to try to get H-1B. So it's really important to extend that to get these additional opportunities. Now, during that time, if you have a good employer that wants to hire you and get you a green card, they could apply and start the perm process, EB2 and EB3 as well. We're not going to get into that here because it's focused on H-1B, but that extra time for STEM is really important to get more opportunities to apply for the H-1B visa. But then let's say your H-1B is in March and April, you got to know what's going on. If you're chosen not for the most part, and your student visa is coming to an end in March, at least your OPT ends in March, or your F-1 graduation is in March, or maybe it happens a little bit later before. There's an issue of cap gap that pops up because your student visa or your school may be ending, but your H-1B case may be pending. What does that mean? Can you stay here longer? Can you work while the case is pending? How does that work? And this is where the concept of cap gap comes into place. Could you get into that for our viewers, Anya, what cap gap is about?
Right. So not everyone is eligible for cap gap, not all the students. Okay. And there are certain requirements that have to be met in order for you to qualify for that. And again, there are certain separate concepts. There is H-1B lottery, right? And lottery registration and everything that comes with it. And there is the process of filing H-1B petition with USCIS. And those are two separate things.
Sure.
Okay, first that we're gonna have, as John mentioned, in March, when the lottery will be open and we'll know results by April. Okay, and after that, only those who were selected in the lottery, they will be able to proceed further with their H-1B petitions. Okay, and first thing, in order for you to qualify for cap gap, for cap gap exemption, right? Your employer actually has to file an H-1B petition on your behalf with USCIS. So participating in the lottery or submitting the registration or anything like that, it doesn't work like that. It's not a criteria, right? It's not. The first requirement is that the petition has to be filed. And what I mean by filing is that, again, USCIS has to receive it.
Yes,
and for those
I-129.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, USCIS does not follow so-called mailbox rule. So usually the deadline for H-1B petitions is June 30th. All right, but by this time, USCIS actually has to have your petition there. So the receipt notice of H-1B petition has to be issued not later than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you file it, you have to be in status at the same time. You can't be out of status.
Yes, this is the next thing that I'm going to talk about. Sure. Right. So the petition has to be filed. Okay, and you have to be in valid status. And in this context, I would like to talk about two things. First thing is that you can be in valid F-1 OPT status in your grace period, which are 60 days after the expiration, right? Or you can be still on OPT AAD, kind of thing. Okay, when you still have your work permit valid. So depending on when your employer files, it would affect your right to work and right to stay in the United States. Again, as I said, file.
Yeah, that's interesting because when the I-129F goes in the system, I-129F goes in the system, and whatever your status is in that time, whether you're OPT and working or whether you're in your grace period, dramatically affects what you can do while the case is pending and you're in the United States.
Correct. So if your employer filed in your 60 days grace period, you are authorized to stay in the United States, right, for this time, but you're not authorized to work because your work permit already expired by this time. And it doesn't get automatically extended by filing the petition. But if your employer filed the H-1B petition with USCIS while your OPT EAD was still valid, then you can stay in the United States and you can work. So both your status and work authorization automatically get extended.
Yeah, and so that's really important because the employer is the one who files the I-129 and they hire the lawyer to do that. You have to be mindful of when it ends because you want to be able to take advantage of cap gap and be able to work until the H-1B petition is approved. And the employer or the attorney may not be fully paying attention that's working on it. So you want to push them and say, listen, we got to get this I-129 in to take advantage from being able to have work authorization and not avoid getting in the grace period, because that's going to be bad. Now, if you unfortunately OPT ends and your grace period ends, then you can't change status to H-1B. You could leave the United States and come back in with the H-1B visa once you're approved. But if you're trying to hold it over and continue working and be in the United States, not have to do that trip, this cap gap situation is really pivotal in helping you out.
Yes. So two additional very important things about qualifying for for cap gap. Is that on the I-129 petition, which is H-1B petition, there are special supplements filed with this and other things, but again, I will not go too deep in that. So you have to, your petitioner has to request change of status for you, because if your petitioner requests, for example, consular processing, it does not give you automatic extension.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and the employment start date have to be listed as October 1st too.
Yeah, it's automatic October 1st. It's a weird situation because the employer is the one who files the I-129, and the lawyers sometimes don't communicate directly with the applicant as much, the foreign national. They don't catch stuff. I've had people come to me where they have a J-1 visa subject to a 2-year requirement, which means they have to leave the US, wait 2 years, and come back in or request the waiver. And the attorney that's working on a case is working with the employer and not getting too many questions about the employee and catching the fact that they're subject to a 2-year requirement, which means that they won't be able to change status to H-1B or even get the H-1B without the requirement being waived. So to the extent possible, try to be active, communicate with the lawyer, and educate yourself. And this is what these videos are for, so you can protect yourself first and foremost, to avoid hassles that come up. And another hassle that could come up is the degree requirement. So obviously, the H-1B is about specialized knowledge. We'll go ahead before jumping into that, Anya. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add one last thing about
go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I always have something to add. Yeah. So for the extension is automatic, the cap gap extension, as long as all this criteria met that I just mentioned, right? But there is no paper saying that you have this extension. So what you can do is you can ask your school, your designated school official, and they will insert this in the system, in the civic system, and they can issue a new DS form. And in this new DS form, they will be written that it's extended, and so on and so on and so on. So, and you can use it as a proof of your lawful status and the proof that you are still authorized to work, even with the expired EAD.
Is this the I-20 that the F-1 students get?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Cool. So
yeah, I'm sorry. I said DS-290. This is for
J1. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, it gets confusing because a lot of this stuff we're talking about, the grace period and stuff, the J visa holders apply to. We're gonna have probably a separate session because these J cultural exchange students, a lot of the time they're doing doctorate degrees and studying postdocs, so they actually are big users of the H-1B category. But it's just a lot going each one, so we'll make a unique video for that one. But with regard to student visa, obviously you're studied, you have a bachelor's degree most likely, and you're basing your application for H-1B based on having this education. But some notes, some people might come from countries where their bachelor's degree is takes 3 years to get. That could be a problem. There's ways around it, and sometimes you need to get degree equivalencies to show that your degree is the equivalent of a U.S. degree. Anya, is there anything particular you want to talk about in this area with regard to how much maybe experience or specialized training could make up for a missing year of education?
Right. So there is so-called 3-for-1 rule. So what it means, if you have qualified work experience or specialized training, and for example 1 year of this work experience or specialized training and or will qualify 3 years will qualify for a year of your study.
Yeah.
So for example, if you get a bachelor's degree, you would need 4 by 3, 12 years of specialized training or work experience.
Yeah. Now, ideally, you have the education. It's easy because you have to document the history and get papers and documents, and it creates more work. It's not impossible. It's something you might have to do. Sometimes people have a 2-year degree and they can add the work experience, the specialized training, additional time. So there's different variations that go, just like all of it, law in general, particularly immigration law. There's always a million and one nuances and things you could do or things you can't do that we would have to dive into your unique situation to see what's going on. But we just wanted to have this video to show you there's opportunities, there's things you can do, and it's worth looking into and analyzing and studying to see if it's something that's possible for you. Do you have any other comments you want to make about any of these topics, Anya?
Yes, for this like work and training, it's important that it's it's like accumulated at the professional level.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that all this 12 years has to be at the professional level, but for example, I would say the last position ended up with that. So, and this all 12 years of experience brought you where you are at right now.
Experience, definitely.
And I think, John, you wanted to talk about like foreign degrees and what issues come up with that.
Yeah, we have this problem. Glad you reminded me of, particularly in South Asia, where you'll have the bachelor's degrees. They'll award bachelor's degrees, which in the West that typically is a 4-year degree, but they issue it in 3-year dates. So you go to school for 3 years and you get a bachelor's degree. Well, the U.S. is really on top of that, and they have problems with that, and they want to accept it. So you need to then, a lot of times what we see is people do a 3 years bachelor's degree, and then they have a master's degree that's 1 or 2 years, and they put those two educational sections together to get to the 4 years or sometimes 5 years to match this degree equivalency or degree requirement for the H-1B. So be mindful of that. Don't assume that automatically your bachelor's degree will be acceptable. That's something we always have to analyze, maybe get transcripts even, get your diploma and see what it is. And sometimes we have to hire companies to write a statement. That's the professionals in this, a lot of time professors, that say this is the equivalent of a US 4-year degree. And we include that additional costs get added to it. So it's something to end time. So you want to get started on that early, because these institutions get swamped with work, especially around this time of year. They may take a while to get back to you, and you have to pay expedite fees and stuff to avoid it. Know beforehand that you're going this direction. Have everything prepared. And that's what this is all about, these videos, to be pre-prepared to avoid, try to avoid hurdles as you move forward.
Right. And I just want to add, I'll be fast. So, and you can mix and match this thing. So for example, you had 3 years there in your home country, you come to the United States, like you don't want to do master's degree here, for example, right? You can take some additional credits at the school, like I take additional year, that together will match the bachelor's degree. Or alternatively, as I said, you can just get a master's degree on top of your bachelor's from like 3 years bachelor's. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. If y'all haven't already, like and subscribe where you're watching this. This is a YouTube JK Law Firm or JQK Clips, we sometimes post up there. And check us out on Facebook, JK Law Firm, TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John. And this is all over the place. We have tons of videos, hundreds and hundreds of videos, maybe over 1,000 videos, different things. And we're going to be adding 1,000 more this year. So a lot of content coming out. If you want to schedule a consultation with either of us, just email us at info@jqqlaw.com. And briefly specify what the immigration issue is, so you have an idea what you're looking for, and we'll take it from there. Until next one, thanks so much. And thank you, Anya, for coming on and sharing the information.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you soon.
Definitely. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this educational program. To get the latest videos, click the subscribe button and the notification bell icon. Also, help us help the immigrant community by liking this video and sharing it with your family and friends. You can also find us on other social media sites like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where you find the latest updates on immigration news, policy changes, and tips. Be safe and God bless. See you soon.